Okay, we're going to talk about the Jetty scene or scenes. It's actually two scenes in the movie itself, but it's the angle or the perspective changing in the same scene. The Jetty is when Ashok and Gogol are walking out over the rocks to see the ocean, and Ashima, who still has baby Sonia, is waiting back at the car yelling to them. So it's actually one of those, especially as anyone who likes to break down films for some of their artistic reasons, would love this scene, and I'm one of those people. I think it's probably the best scene, especially the way they break it down, to really show the theme of the movie. So we'll look at it from the two sides, and then we'll have to ask the question as to what does it all mean. So the first time we see this scene is back when the film is pretty much being given to us from Ashima's point of view, and we see her standing yelling out to her husband and son to be very careful, especially because Gogol's so little that he doesn't get hurt walking out onto the rocks. It's a pretty innocent scene, but just like any time you see something you think is pointless or you're not sure why it's put in, there's always a reason. So then, in a really beautiful way of going full circle, the director takes us back to the Jetties in the very end of the film to give us the opposite perspective, to see what happened with Gogol and Ashok when they walked out over the rocks. And as you remember, they had forgotten the camera, and Ashok said, you're just going to have to remember the day we went as far as you could go, the day we went out where there was no place left to go. And this scene is given to us at the end when Gogol is starting to reminisce or start to remember his father and starting to take that advice that Ashok took so many years before, which is to live the adventure that is life. So when we talk about the symbolic meaning of the Jetty, we have to look at it through Gogol's point of view, Gogol's perspective, especially as it pertains to what his father told him. So in talking about the Jetty scene, we have to understand kind of the perspective that Gogol looks at it back and why the director chooses to put it really in the beginning of the film and then again at the end, going full circle, a remembrance, a reminder to Gogol of advice that his father gave him. And then we see him at the end of the film on the train reading the overcoat, and we know that he's decided to follow in his footsteps. So I have to pose the question to you. What does the Rock Jetty stand for as it pertains to the relationship between Ashok and his son, Gogol?